Hey everyone, in today's video it's going to be a little bit of a special one because I want to get this posted ASAP. Got a lot of positive feedback on it. I'm going to show you guys how to get Steamer projections for 2024 into R. And then I'm going to do another video where we're going to get Steamer projections into Python. Bang! I'm fired up. All right. Here we go. So, if you have R in RStudio downloaded, we're in the beautiful RStudio, and we need two libraries. So we will install those packages. So install packages JSONLite. So run that. Might get a warning message, fine, whatever. And it says downloaded. And we have dplyr. Do you want to restart R? Sure, we'll restart R. So we'll start dplyr. And now that's in there. So now let's load them in. JSONLite and dplyr. Boom. Okay. Now this will be on my GitHub page, but feel free, you can write this down, pause the video if you need to, but I have a site that we can go to. That allows us to get those Steamer projections. So what we're doing here is we're creating a sourcing function. So that way it sources it from that URL. So what I mean by that is we run it, and boom, we have Steamer projections. Not only that, we have their data from 2023. So let's look at the data set, help you understand, what's going on here. So we have the season for the projection, the player ID, their name, team abbreviation, team name, how many games they're projected to play, plate appearances, home runs, RBIs, OPS, walk percentage, strikeout percentage, weighted runs created plus, WAR, and then the same things but with the last year data. And so what we're going to do is basically take that data, spin it up, and compare the differences in each of those stats to see, who's expected to be the biggest gainer, who's expected to regress. And this is good to know in a multifaceted approach. Like one, for Steamers does a great job with their projection system, but two, this also allows you to see maybe from a fantasy baseball perspective, maybe from your favorite team's perspective, or potential free agent perspective, who's going to do well, who's not. So Steamer, piping operator, we'll say dplyr mutate, and I'll create a new line here just to help you out. So we'll just call this gdiff, which is games minus games 23. Plate appearance diff equals PA minus PA 23. Home run diff equals home runs minus last year's home runs, so on and so forth. We'll just do it for every single stat to compare last year with the current data. So OPS diff, OPS minus OPS 23, B walk percentage difference. This time I'll do around. Actually, I probably should have just done around here, just to make sure it's rounded off to 3 decimal places. Same for this one. So BBPCT 23, 3. Same for the K percentage. We're just really getting into the nit and grit of stuff. So strikeout percentage, so forth. And then the WRC difference, so we'll say round, WRC plus. Make sure you add those little tick marks, or you can put it in quotes. Either one works, but make sure you do that because that plus sign, if you don't put it in quotes, will return an error because it'll think you're adding something. And then WRC plus 23. So you can either do that or you can put it in quotes like this. Either one works. Just make sure they're consistent is the only thing. And then war diff, so round war minus last year's war, wins above replacement. And now we have that. And then let's just make sure that this is based on guys who are projected to have, we'll say, 200 plate appearances in the upcoming season per steamer. So we'll run that. So we have 442 guys. And we can see some of these differences. So part of it, too, is steamer only projects to 150 games. So you might see some differences there. If you want to look at it on a per-game basis, just simply like, in the case of war, right, you'll just divide war divided by the amount of games that player played to kind of see differences there. That way, if that player does play 160 games or so, you can see that for those counting stats, because there might be a difference in those particular metrics, because again, some of these guys might only play a certain amount of games. But let's look at the biggest gainers in plate appearances. So like O'Neill Cruz was hurt for most of the year last year, so he's expected to get way more plate appearances and have basically an OPS of 786. So it's cool to look at it that way, right? And then home run differences, so things like that. But let's look at, maybe we can look at war. It's like Vlad Jr., right? Vlad Jr. had a bit of an off year. As you can see, he had 682 plate appearances, 26 home runs, 94 RBIs, 788 OPS. But Steamer has him projected at 893, which gives him a boost of almost 100 points in OPS, which then gives him a boost in WAR. And he's projected for 36 home runs and 107 RBIs, with a weighted runs created plus of 144 compared to his 118. So Vlad Guerrero Jr. expected to do really good. Now, another way you can look at this is we can filter it and say, try to keep it simple with a GT table. So we can just say library GT, library GT extras. And again, if these packages are not installed, do what I did at the beginning of this video, install .packages, and then each of those particular ones. So install .packages, install .packages, and just remove the comment. So now we're going to say steamer, we'll say arrange, we'll look at OPS, why not? It's pretty simple to look at, 1, and then 2. Let's filter it down to where guys who have played last year, because in this case, like Pete Crow Armstrong last year had 19 plate appearances and only had an OPS of 176, whereas he's projected a 702 OPS in 396 plate appearances with the Cubs. So we can filter this down first. So within dplyr, you can say dplyr filter, PA is greater than or equal to 100, so at least 100 plate appearances. Then we'll arrange negative OPS diff. Then we'll say select. So now we're just going to look at a few columns. So dplyr select. We'll do name. Team name. PA, OPS, PA 23, OPS 23, and then OPS diff. Let me make sure. No, this is. And then just convert it to a GT table. And I'll show you a bunch of names. And let's say we only want to look at the first 5 guys who might see a bump in OPS. Slice 1 to 5. Excuse me. That's why it looks a little bit different. So, based on guys who have had at least 100 plate appearances last year, Everson Pereira is supposed to have the greatest, I guess, OPS differential, going from 427 to 691. Mason Wynn going from 467 to 687. Jesse Winker to go from 567 to 762. AJ Pollock with whatever team he lands with, 524 to 718. Tyler Soderstrom, 472 to 650. And so you can look at, the first 5 that way. But this is like a real, I guess, basic way of doing it. And then with the GT Extras package, we'll do a GT theme ESPN. Add a header, so title, top 5 OPS or OPS gainers from Steamer projections. And we'll say subtitle equals minimum 100 plate appearances, PAs in 2023. And so now it looks a little bit cooler. But yeah, Pereira, Mason Wynn, Jesse Winker, AJ Pollock, Tyler Soderstrom are the top 5 in that regard. So it's kind of cool to look at it that way, And like you can use this filter to answer some other questions, like, what if I only care about guys who have had 100 plate appearances last year and whose OPS is, or projected OPS is at least 800. We run the same thing. So now we see like minimum 100 PAs in 2023, projected OPS of 800 or greater. And like now you can see Vlad Guerrero Jr. is projected to do a lot better than he did last year. Same for Tatis. Same for Vinny Pasquantino. Same for Eloy and Jock Peterson. So this is kind of like a basic introductory to it. We can look at more Steamer projections in future videos, and that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to enhance kind of this table as well. But this is just a precursor into future videos because, again, I'm trying to up my content creation with this channel. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.